Okay, welcome to the first IELTS step-by-step course. This one is dedicated to mastering vocabulary for the IELTS exam. Now this, as I said, is the first of the courses. There will be 5 others. So reading, writing, listening, speaking and grammar coming up later. But this is the first of them. Now, before I continue with this introduction video, I have a little task for you. An IELTS style listening task. So if you look at the top left hand corner of your Udemy site, you will see it says Introduction to the Course, Section 1, which is where you are now. And then just below it, it says IELTS style listening for introduction video. I would like you to download that PDF and I would like you to fill in the answers as we go along in this introduction video. Okay, so it's a little bit of a test for you, see how your listening is, but also to check if you're really paying attention to what I'm saying, because some of the things that I tell you in this introduction video is very, very important for the rest of the course. Okay, so it looks like this. Introduction to the Mastering Vocabulary course, IELTS style listening, questions 1 to 9 for section 1. Okay, now can you remember how many other courses are there in this IELTS step-by-step suite of courses? And remember, you have to include the one that I'm talking about now. So the answer for this one is 6. Okay, so you can, if you want, pause the video now, give yourself a chance to read through the questions, certainly for questions 1 to 9, and then I would like you to resume the video until and when you are ready. Okay, let's continue talking about this Mastering Vocabulary course. This course is made up of over 1,300 words and phrases. Now, let me just stop you there. Did you see the box that just came up? That box came up when I said made up of. This happens in all of the videos throughout the course. When I think a word or a phrase is useful for you to know or be able to use in the IELTS exam, it comes up in this box over here. Usually the box only stays for 4 seconds. At the moment it's staying around for us to be very kind and we can read it. But in all the other videos, you only have 4 seconds to look at it. That's why you need to be ready to pause the video, read the text, and then resume when you are ready. And there you've got the word resume again. Okay. While we're on the subject of technical things like this, I also want to talk about the subtitles that are available for every video in this course. So if you're finding it difficult to follow my speed or the use of some of my words in this course, please turn on or switch on the subtitles so that you can read and listen at the same time. And while I'm talking about the speed of my voice, I'd like to mention something. In this course, I could speak to you like this, but is that really going to help you in the IELTS listening? Do they speak that way in the IELTS listening? No, they do not. So I'm going to speak to you in a natural speed that you will expect to hear on an IELTS listening test. And I also use high-level vocabulary and phrases. The ones that I think are useful for the IELTS exam come up in the box. In fact, all of the ones that I use will be useful in the IELTS exam. Otherwise, I wouldn't use those words or phrases. So I use high-level ones so that you can use the words in the box. If I don't use them in the box, it's because they have already been said before by me in a previous video, and you need to go back and see if you can find that word or phrase. Okay. Now, where did I get all these words and phrases for the Mastering Vocabulary course? You may be asking. Well, there are 2 sources. The first source is from analyzing and studying the IELTS exams since 2005 until now. And there's a lot of exams if you realize that one IELTS exam is done every 3 weeks or so. So that's a lot of exams, and analyzing those exams and looking for high level advanced words that come up relatively frequently. So we've taken all of those words plus the famous Oxford academic word list and combined, decided which words of those are useful for everybody, which words are useful specifically for the IELTS exam, which words are useful for general training students, which ones are useful for academic students who are doing the academic IELTS, and we've combined them into this course. So over 1,300 words split up into 23 themes and topics. Now those 23 themes have been carefully selected so that they encompass every possible text type that you might get in the IELTS exam, all the reading and the listening texts, as well as being able to answer the questions that come up in the IELTS writing and the IELTS speaking. So 23 different topics, and you can have a look at them on your screen now. If you want to pause the video, you can look at all the different themes that are available in this course. Now, the aim of the IELTS step-by-step courses is to get you a 7 and above in the IELTS exam. Even if you're at 5.5 now, the idea is that eventually you'll be able to get a 7 and above, or 8 even. But that means that you need to complete all the activities, watch all the videos, and collaborate with each other. And I'm going to talk about collaboration later on in this video and why it's so important. So some of you may know me from my YouTube channel, and it was very popular. My videos about listening and reading were very popular on that course, and you may be wondering why I've decided to go with the vocabulary course before all of the others. It's a good question, but behind me is a sign that will be displayed in every single video in this course and all of the courses, just to remind you something. And it's a sign that is related to a poster that was put up around London in the Second World War, and it was to remind people to have a stiff upper lip, to continue trying, and don't worry about the bombs falling from the German aeroplanes. And it's a very British thing, and it's probably quite a famous poster even outside of London and outside of the UK. And this is very easy to say but difficult to do, and that phrase to say that is, it's easier said than done. Now, I know that some of my students are finding it difficult to get to the level that they want, because there's a lot of pressure on them, maybe from their parents, maybe from themselves, maybe from the community that they live in, to get that IELTS score so that they can go and study in an English-speaking country, or go and live in an English-speaking country to collect money to send back to family members, to start a new life. There's a lot of pressure on you to succeed in the IELTS exam, and it's easier said than done to keep calm and keep trying when you know that there's pressure from yourself and from other people. On top of that, I'm also aware that some of the people that are listening here are not particularly wealthy, and each time you do an IELTS exam and don't get the grade that you really want, you have to start again. That's an enormous amount of money for some of my students watching. And so there's this added pressure. How do you keep calm and carry on if you have all this pressure, money pressure, pressure from family, pressure from yourself? And the answer really is to be prepared. That is the only way that you're going to be able to keep calm under those conditions. Of course, in the exam itself, imagine you failed. Imagine you haven't got the grade that you want, and this is the third time you are trying, and you haven't got that much money left. Imagine the pressure on top of that. So this is why these courses are coming out. And the most important course of all of the 6 courses is this one. And that is why I'm opening or starting all the courses with the Mastering Vocabulary. Because if you understand the text, if you understand the words in the text, if you understand the phrases in the text, if you understand the idioms in the text, and you know how to use them in your reading, in your speaking and your writing, you can stay calm, because all the tips and techniques and tricks that you learn from, they're like standing on the shoulders of giants. Your giants are your list of vocabulary that you know in English, and you're standing on the shoulders of giants with your tips and tricks and techniques, and you can get that grade that you want. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is to go to section 2 of your PDF of the IELTS style listening. You can pause the video now if you want, and you can you can read the questions there. When you're ready, press play on this video, and you can listen to section 2 of this introduction video. Okay, so my name is James Castleton, and as I said, some of you may know me from my YouTube channel. I have been teaching for, I think, 16 years now, and I have an MA, a master's degree in Applied Linguistics and TESOL from the University of Leicester, and I have a diploma in English language teaching from the University of Cambridge. I am also an ex-examiner for IELTS, and an examiner means, in this case, that I was marking, writing scripts, and I was doing oral exams, speaking exams. But I think one of the thing that really helped me to put these courses together is the fact that I used to be, and I still am, a YouTuber. I have about 60,000 followers on YouTube, and some of you have been asking, where are you? Where have you disappeared to? Because I used to release more and more videos. Well, now you know, this is what I look like, this is my face, and now you know why I have not been posting recently. I've been putting all my effort into making these courses. And in making those YouTube videos, I ended up doing IELTS exams. So some of you who have seen my videos on YouTube will know that I take, for example, a reading exam that I have never seen before. I've never read anything. I don't know what the questions look like. And I put it in front of my computer. I use a digital pen and I make a screenshot of what I'm doing, and I complete the task, or the test, sorry, in exactly the same conditions that my students would. So a reading is 1 hour, 60 minutes. So I set a timer and I start going. And I film myself doing this, and students follow along. They can download the PDF and follow with me if they want to. In doing that, I've been able to do more than 35 IELTS exams, full IELTS exams, readings and listenings. Of course, not the writings and the speakings. But combining my knowledge of reading and writing from those 35 IELTS exams that I've done, as well as being an ex-examiner, those really have helped me to really produce the best course that you can possibly get online. And certainly I think that the 35 IELTS exams that I have done has really made a big difference. In fact, I don't know many IELTS teachers, people that have been doing IELTS exams for many, many years. I don't think I know anybody who's done more than 1 or 2 IELTS exams, and they've tried one out maybe when they first started teaching an IELTS class. I've done 35, so I really know the exam now. And on top of all these other things, it's helped me to produce a really good course, I think, for IELTS students. Okay, so let me just talk about my previous experience quickly. In my previous school, students would come from all over the world to London, and they would pay approximately 30 British pounds per hour to be in my class. That's about 45 US dollars, 45 Australian dollars to be in my class. It's a significant amount of money, and that also includes the costs of traveling from their country to London, and then living expenses in one of the most expensive countries in the world. So all of this combined, I looked at my students and I thought it's a little bit unfair, I think, that if you've got the money, you have the opportunity to go to really good school and to get some really good quality training in an environment where there's only 12 people in the class, and you can work together and collaborate with other students, and the exercises are designed for everybody to help each other. And I thought that's not very fair, because there are people in the world who deserve as much of this opportunity as somebody who's got lots of money. Usually it's their mother and father who sends them or gives them money to come to London and study. So that's why I decided that in September 2018 I would quit my job. I still work part-time a little bit there, but most of my time is spent putting these courses together, and they are using all the skills and techniques that I learned in that school and in the previous schools, plus my work in the diploma and the master's degree. All of that is combined to putting up a really good course, I think, and it is unique in its way of presenting the vocabulary in the way that I want you to think about the vocabulary as well. Okay, and something I mentioned before, and it came up in a box over here, the word collaboration, working together. And that's something that I'm going to try and recreate in this class. So a lot of the reason why people would spend a lot of money coming to London was for the chance to collaborate with people from other countries, people that would speak different language to them. So they were forced to use English to communicate. And that's something that I would like to recreate in this environment. Now, of course, geographically, I can't bring you all together in the same place. We need to work on this from a distance. But the amazing thing about the internet and some of the free resources that are available to connect people makes it possible for us to do this. And so I'm going to ask you to be pioneers in this regard. I want you to be people who are one of the first in the world to really collaborate online and help each other online to build this course into what it should be, a true collaboration of ideas from people from all over the world. In fact, I've even got 2 videos that show you how to make your own activities so that you can share those with other people who are also doing the same theme or the same activity or the same task. And you're going to learn how to make them, not only to test yourself, but to give other students a chance to do your task, to do your exam, to do your exercise online, wherever they are, at whatever time of day it is in their country. And there's one more thing I'd like to talk about, and these are called the learner training videos. Now, these learner training videos, there are 23, so they appear in the themes and topics as well. So these learner training videos are designed to give you the skills that I have already as a teacher. So there are some teachers, most teachers are quite reserved about sharing their skills as a teacher. They've spent a lot of time thinking about how to do something, and they don't really want to share with their students their techniques and what's going on in their mind. Well, I don't think that's good. I want to share all the skills and knowledge and resources that I know with you so that you can continue learning, not just in this course, but afterwards. Because remember, the IELTS course is the first step in your academic career, or if you're doing general training, in your life in another English-speaking country. And so there's no point just being ready for the IELTS exam All these general training videos will give you a chance to be ready for university, to be ready to work in an English-speaking job, and to be ready for general learning. It doesn't even need to be language learning. The things I will teach you here will help you in all sorts of different scenarios. So please watch the learner training videos. They will really help you to expand your knowledge, not just of the English language, but your knowledge of learning and the learning process. Okay, now we're on to section 3 of your PDF of your IELTS style listening. So you can pause the video now and then you can look at the questions, and when you're ready, resume the video. Okay, so in this section, this third section of this introduction video, I'm just going to show you how each section of the course is broken down. So you'll see that this is section 5. It's a random choice, and this section has got life and leisure and then plus recording new vocabulary. This is the name of the theme that you'll be looking at, and after the plus is the topic of the learner training video. Okay, so let's just have a look at this one. So here's the introduction to the theme, and it's in this theme that you will be introduced to the idea of the theme, what it really means, and you also have a chance to activate your world knowledge about this theme. And I'll explain in the first introduction video in section 2 exactly what that means, what it means to activate your world knowledge. But this is getting you prepared to learn verbs, nouns, adjectives, and adverbs, and other phrases that are useful related to life and leisure. Okay, I'm going to ignore this because it comes up down here. So let's go on to this one here, and it says, what's the best way to learn new vocabulary that I've learned? Now this is the title of the learner training video, and there's these two things here are connected. So in the video I'm going to be asking you to look at this link, and as I said, learner training videos are designed to help you to improve your skills as a learner. And then down here in the discussion space, this is where you'll have a chance to discuss with other students who are also doing the same learner training video. If you have any ideas, if you get confused about anything, this is your discussion space over here. Now, the next one is the new vocabulary. This is where you will actually learn the new vocabulary. And if we go to it, I'll show you what it looks like. So this is the new vocabulary for life and leisure. And it looks like this. Here's the nouns, adjectives, verbs, verb phrases, and phrases with life or living that you are going to learn about in this course. Of course, you can click on anything. So if we click on attitude, for example, it will take us to the meaning of the word. You listen to the pronunciation.
Attitude.
Even the word in a sentence.
As soon as they found out I was a doctor, their whole attitude changed.
Okay. Now, as I will say before, as I will say again in another video, it's not necessary for you to look at all the meanings of all these words before you start doing the vocabulary practice. You are quite welcome to go straight into the vocabulary practice after you've done your show your progress, that I will talk about later. But you can go straight into this without looking at the meanings and definitions of these words. The idea is that you'll have a chance to guess from context the words. You'll see them, how they fit in the context, and use your mind, your knowledge, your creativity to get the meanings of those words in these vocabulary practice exercises. So this might be different to what you are used to in other courses, where they will give you the word, then you act passively, accept the word. That doesn't help you to learn anything. That is why these vocabulary practices are like this. And let's have a look, for example, at one of them. So let's go to exercise number 2, the one about collocation, and I'll talk about that in the next video. The third video, I think, is all about collocations. Okay, so we're going to go to this one here, And it goes to a website called learningapps.org, which is specifically designed for these types of activities. And you've got a picture, and it says here, choose the correct phrase with life or living to complete the sentences. Now remember, you've already done exercise 1, so we're going to exercise 2. So you've already had some practice with it here, and this is just recapping or a revision. So for example, going to Egypt and seeing the pyramids was a once in a living time. You choose which one you think it is, and let's see what happens if I know that this is wrong. So I'm going to click the little blue, and that says no, it's red. Let's try this one, no, and let's try this one, no. So it can only be lifetime, and it turns green. Now let's go back, let's go to a one where you have to fill in the words. So let's try exercise 1, and it says here, listen to 4 people answering these questions and type in the word in the box that describes each speaker. Now let's just have a look at the top here. You'll see that this is a listening exercise. So when it says now listen, your listening is always at the top of the page. This is because people who are using mobile phones when they are doing this course will find it easier to access the audio, and that's why I've put it at the top. Okay, so I want to show you what happens if we make some mistakes. So speaker, let's listen to the first one.
Do you think people work too much nowadays? Not really. I think people have always worked hard for a living. I mean, it's never been easy for anyone, has it? You have to work hard if you want to achieve anything in your life. That's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is. That's a key word. You have to do it whether you like it or not. It's just the way it is. Now, I'm not going to be teaching you anything today, of course, but the answer is realist. If someone says that's just the way it is, that's the way life is, then they are a realist. But I want to imagine that we spelt it wrong. So what happens? Okay, it's still red. Realist. And now watch what happens on the third try. Now a little black question mark comes up and it gives you the answer. So if you're really stuck and you really can't find the answer, then type it in 3 times incorrectly and the answer will come up for you. Okay. There are different types of activities in this. This is the most common type, the one where you have to fill in the answers with a type in the answers, and the one that you saw before where you choose from a group of words or phrases. There are a few others, but they are self-explanatory. You shouldn't have any trouble understanding how to complete them. If you do, please work in a collaborative way. First ask the question to people on the Reddit group, which I'll talk about later, or if no one is answering, then you can use this down here. It says browse Q&A. At the moment it says browse, but that's because I am in the teacher mode here. But if you click that, it should say something like ask a question or submit a question, and you can use that to ask a question, and it will come to me and it will come to other students who are also doing the same task. The reason I don't use this one as much as the Reddit forum, which I will show you later, in fact I'll show you now. Let's go to the discussion space. This is what it looks like. Remember, this is about the learner training video because I clicked on the one above. And do you guys know how to blah 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 blah? You would fill in that sentence and that question, and you click comment. And if people like this question and they think it's a relevant question, they will click up, the up arrow. If they think it's a stupid question, unfortunately, they might click a down arrow and it goes to the bottom of the page, and you get minus points for this. And that is why I've chosen to use Reddit rather than the browse Q&A on Udemy, because these questions, you might have a fantastic question, but that question ends up at the bottom of the page because it is arranged chronologically. and there's a word for you, and you can think about how that works. So if it's arranged chronologically, it ends up at the bottom, and a really good question might not be answered properly. And that is why I've decided to use the Reddit or IELTS step-by-step subreddit. Okay, I'm going to just delete this quickly because I don't need it. Okay, now let's go back up to this one here. So that's where you're going to learn your new vocabulary. And here I want to just talk about show your progress. This is connected to the last section down here. This section is where you will complete a reading, you'll complete a speaking or a writing task, or both if you are a motivated student. This is something you will do before you study any vocabulary, to show you where you are battling, show you where there are gaps in your knowledge. And then down here, right at the end, at the bottom of the topic, you will then repeat that same questions and notice the improvements that you have made because you have studied all this vocabulary, and you'll be able to answer the questions because you've got a lot more vocabulary to use. Okay. So that is connected there. I would just want to talk about we looked at the discussion space. Remember, that was for the learner training video, but it also appears here. If you would like to discuss anything related to the theme of life and leisure, then you can click here. So this is for the theme of recording new vocabulary. This is for the theme of life and leisure. In fact, let's go and have a look at this one. Okay, mastering vocabulary, life and leisure. Use this post to discuss. And remember to upvote comments that are useful or helpful. Okay, but there's also an option for you to voice chat. If I click on that, it will take me to a website called Discord. And this website is actually for the gaming community. So some of you who might be gamers would know this website, and you can talk about strategies. Even while you're playing a game, you can talk to other people all over the world in near real-time speed and being able to discuss things. It's a bit like Skype, but only without the video. And so that's why I've set this up for people on this group. If you want to discuss anything in real time and practice your speaking with people from all over the world, in English of course, then you would use Discord app. Remember, this is an app as well. So at the moment I'm using a computer, so I'm using the web version, but I can also download the program itself onto my computer, and it's available on mobile phones as well as iPads and things like that. So it's a very powerful app. Take full advantage of it if you want to improve your fluency in speaking. Remember, fluency, the speed at which you are speaking. It doesn't matter about accuracy because you are just talking to people of the same level of English as you are. But fluency is very important to practice anyway. So even if you are making a few mistakes and your listening partner doesn't notice, it's not a problem. You want to be able to speak more fluently. Use this. And of course, it's also to discuss and communicate with each other about something you're a bit confused about, for example, in one of the vocabulary practice tasks. And there's one other thing that I wanted to show you. In the IELTS R step-by-step, if I get rid of this, if I go to the main page, so just our IELTS step-by-step, just under the word moderators here is okay, finally it came, is a chat room. And here, if you click on it, it will take you to the chat room and you can ask questions by text. So if you don't want to talk, or you don't have a microphone and headphones, you can use the chat on Reddit to talk to people on this subreddit. A subreddit is a r/IELTS step-by-step. So on this subreddit, you can talk to people who are interested in whatever you want. So this is for the general R IELTS step-by-step, but you can ask people to talk about specific things. If you say, okay, I'm talking about section 5, remember section 5 is here, life and leisure, and I'm asking about exercise 4. Do you know what the best way to say this is, or do you notice there's a mistake? And if there is a mistake, I might have made a mistake. The answer might not match with the question. Please let me know, of course, or let somebody else know, and they can contact me if you don't know how to contact me. One more little technical thing, please. If you are going to use Discord app on the web only, there are 2 little symbols at the top. This is Google Chrome. Now, Google Chrome works very well, and this may be a problem for people on Safari or people on Firefox or Internet Explorer, but I just want to be aware of this. If you click on that, it says the microphone is allowed. Of course, you want your microphone allowed because you're going to be talking to people. Okay, at the moment I'm connected. I can disconnect over here if I want to. Okay, voice connected. But there's something else that a lot of people are having problems with. If there's a little red icon next to this, click on it and it says sound was muted on this page. Please click on that, press done, and you should be able to, let me refresh it. Okay, and now you will be able to hear people. So you might be having issues with not being able to hear other people talking. It's because of this little icon on the top right of the URL bar. Okay, now there's one more thing I want to get onto. In this one, it's lecture number 19. It will be different in other themes, but it's called the IELTS practice. In this case, it's the IELTS listening practice. And this is a chance for you to practice an IELTS exam that is related to life and leisure. So let's click on that and see what it looks like. Okay, let's read carefully. The audio track is available on the top of this online test. Complete the answers there. In brackets, if you prefer, you can print out this PDF and answer the questions on paper. I understand it's easier to take notes on paper, so some people prefer paper. After you have finished, transfer the answers to the online test to check them. Okay, and it's exactly the same. When you want to check the answers, you press the blue button, not here, but on the online test. So let's click on online test. Okay, there's the directions of how to fill it in. You see it's a listening because of the listening tab at the top, and you can fill in all the spaces over here and check. Okay, so you might want to use paper. That's the reason why there's a paper version. You might be happy to do this all online and then check the answers in blue. And I think that's everything really for this one. Remember, then it's your show your progress. You repeat those 2 tasks, or at least one of them, to show that you have made progress. So that's about it for my introduction video. I know it's gone on quite long. What I would really appreciate is for you to leave a review at the end of the course, because I can then take the comments that you leave from that review and improve on this. Remember, this course is for life. Any Udemy course is available for you as long as Udemy exists. Let's hope it stays available, because it's a great platform. And so any feedback that I get from you in the review will be put back to improve this course. And so of course it's useful for you, not just, as I said, to pass the IELTS exam, but for the rest of your life. The skills and the resources that I have here are useful for you way after you complete the IELTS exam and get that 7 or 7.5 or 8 that you need to get into the country that you want to, or get into the university that you deserve. Okay, so thank you so much for paying attention. After this, a little break, we're going to check the answers of the PDF if you would like to check and get the answers. Okay, so I'll see you in a few seconds. Okay, so here we are on the introduction video. Welcome. and we said that there are 6 courses in the suite. So this one is the Mastering Vocabulary course, and then there's Reading, Writing, Listening, Speaking and Grammar. Okay, the Mastering Vocabulary course has more than 1,300 words. Okay, I said over 1,300 words, so over in this case is the same as more than. Useful vocabulary will pop up in that box on the screen for a maximum of 4 seconds. So that's why you need to pause the video if you want to read what's written in the box. Let's just erase that because oops, just need this here. Okay, and then over here there are also for each video, so that you can read and listen at the same time, captions or subtitles. Also called captions, so if you put captions as well, captions, both of them are acceptable, but notice you need S because they are for each video, and there are 23 videos. Well, there are more than 50 videos actually, because there's a learner training video and a video for introducing the theme. The difficulty and speed of the videos is deliberately high to prepare you for the IELTS listening. And IELTS listening, you can leave it as if you want, or you can say listening exam, and I'll also accept listening test. Okay, now the vocabulary for the course was chosen from two sources. The advanced lexis, now this is another word, a more academic word for vocabulary and phrases. Vocabulary tends to be single words, phrases tend to be groups of words, and if you combine them all together, they're called lexis. So advanced lexis that frequently comes up in the real exams. And you don't have to put real, you can say the exams, in the IELTS exam as well. Sorry, why am I doing that? So you can put real or IELTS, exam or exams, all of them will be acceptable. The next one, there are 23 themes and topics that cover every possible text and question type in the exams. Okay, you can't say all because I need an S here, all possible texts. So every is always with a single noun, SN, single noun. Okay, the aim of the IELTS step-by-step courses is to help you to achieve a score of 7 or above. You can also say 7 or over, and 7 or more. And I would also accept 7 plus if you decided to use the plus there. Okay, and only knowing the tips and tricks of the exam is unhelpful. You need to know and use a wide range of vocabulary. If you use the word lexis here, that's great. Lexis, a wide range of lexis. So very good. I cannot use vocabulary and phrases because remember that it says, I can't read it up there, but it says 2 words and or a number. So if there's 2 words or a number, then vocabulary and phrases is 3 words, and therefore it's not possible. Okay, so that's for the first part, section 1. Let's look at section 2. Here we are about knowing your tutor. Now hopefully you know who I am. So James, I believe that that my courses are uniquely powerful because yes, 16 years of experience helps, sure. Yes, he's an IELTS examiner, that's useful. Yes, he has master's and a diploma from Cambridge University, but the main reason is that he's done more than, so 35 I said, more than 30 full IELTS exams. And that's really helped me to understand how the examiners think. Number 11, James has set the price of his courses lower than other similar courses because he used to teach wealthy people. He didn't like it. That's not true. He wants to motivate students from poor countries. Well, but that's not the main reason. He thinks that it's unfair that money determines your chances of studying and or living in an English-speaking country. There's your answer. He wants to have as many students as possible enrolled. No, not necessarily. As many. That's not true. So for number 11, it's C. Let's move up a little bit to number 12 now. What does James think about collaboration? It's important because students can learn from each other and not just the teacher. Yes, possible. Let's have a look at, we'll look at that one. It's necessary because the teacher will not be available to answer questions. That's not true. I said that I might be able to answer questions, maybe not on that day or at that moment, but of course I can answer questions. It's preferable because if you learn by yourself, your IELTS speaking result will be low. Not necessarily. There are some people who are still able to do it, but that's not a reason. And it's the best way to study because you never really teach something until you learn it. I know the phrase learn something until you teach it. And that means that's one of the reasons why some people, if they really don't understand something, they try to teach it to somebody, and then through the teaching process they start to understand it. But because this phrase is mixed up, it cannot be possible. So the answer is A. Students can learn from each other and not just the teacher. Okay, and 13. Why does James include 23 learner training videos? He needed to make the course longer. That's rubbish. The videos provide students with skills to help them continue to learn. Continue to learn long after the course has been completed. Yes, that's possible. He wants to make himself redundant so that he can move on to a different career. Rubbish. I enjoy teaching, and generally teachers are very protective of their teaching knowledge, and this should be respected. No, I think the teachers should share their teaching knowledge. So the answer for this one is B. Okay, now this is just checking section 3, questions 14 to 19, and then finally question 20. Okay, so let's go to the first one. In which part of each section will you do the following? Demonstrate to yourself that you've learned something. And that is show your progress. So you will demonstrate that you have made some progress. Next one, collaborate with other students. This is here your discussion space. You'll be collaborating with them. In this case, it's the reddit.com/r/IELTS step-by-step, no spaces, but there's also a chance to collaborate on the Discord app, which is available as an app or on the web. So 15 is C. Learn new vocabulary. Of course, this is over here, new vocabulary, and all the practice exercises will be in that section. 17, practice exam style reading, listening, writing or speaking tasks. This one is, in this case we're using the listening practice, but it'll be IELTS writing, IELTS speaking, IELTS something practice. So it must be E then for this one here. Prepare yourself to learn vocabulary for a new topic, and that happens at the introduction of the theme. It's where you practice, you activate your world knowledge related to that theme. So that's A. And then the last one, learn the skills needed to teach yourself. That's the learner training video. So that's always coming after the introduction, and that's in B. Okay. And the last one here, question 20, when you have finished the course, you should leave a review so that James can make the necessary improvements to the course. Okay, so I think that's it. I want you to enjoy this course. I want you to have fun on this course. I want you to learn on this course. I want you to collaborate with me and other students on this course so that you can have a great experience. And please let me know if you have any questions. I'm available on Reddit mostly, also on the Browse Q&A on Udemy. I don't really have time to answer any questions on the Discord app, so use that really to talk to other students, but Reddit is the best place to find me. Okay, thank you very much for all your attention in this introduction video. Good luck and keep calm and carry on.